That was my crashing sound effect. Did you enjoy it? What is up, oh my dudes?
Greetings, nerds! I'm Glitch.
And I'm Keiki.
And today we're back with episode 2 of
Palinurus.
Palinurus. Yes, we know how to say that.
Yodi. We played a little bit of this before. Somebody said it was a 6-minute game, and it is not. So we're gonna hop back into episode 2, and this is just like kind of like a visual novel, so there's not much gameplay, but we're trying our best. Sorry we didn't upload on Friday. We were busy. I got a haircut. I have a pixie cut now. My hair's super short. It's weird. After some time of sleep, however, I was awakened with a start.
Sir! Passenger, sir, please come to the cockpit.
I bolt upright, startled. Something must have gone wrong.
Something seems to have, gone wrong.
I took that as my cue to rush over. As I stepped into the cockpit, warning lights and alerts began to blare, bathing the cockpit in a frantic kaleidoscope of colors the navigator had set to work.
Oh, how interesting.
What? What is it? Did something happen?
Not to cause you any alarm, passenger, sir, but there's been an incident.
I can tell.
The shuttle's short-range radar has detected an incoming debris storm.
That doesn't sound good. Actually, in fact, that's a very bad thing, isn't it?
Well, I wouldn't say very bad, but you might want to... Now, like I said, there's no cause for alarm or anything. Of course not. But you might want to brace for impact.
A debris storm?
Really not encouraging. No cause for alarm, but you might want to brace yourself.
'Cause everything's gonna go to crap real fast. I hurried back to my seat in the cabin to look out the window, squinting my eyes to see through the blackness of space. I could make out a few sparkling lights. Reflections? Yeah, reflections. The ship itself had bright, powerful lights attached to its wings, tail, and under the cockpit, and every time they flashed, I got a peek at some sort of approaching mass. Meteoroids. Hundreds, maybe thousands of meteoroids drifting aimlessly through space, clustered together in a school. A relentless, soaring landslide of steel on a direct collision course with the shuttle. My heart sank deep down in my stomach. Actually, no, it went past that. Plummeted straight down to my bowels.
No cause for alarm, alright? I've got it under control.
No cause for alarm.
No cause for alarm.
I repeated those words to myself, more incredulously each time. I took a deep breath, steeling myself for what I feared was to come. Still as a statue, I closed my eyes, content not to watch it go down.
Oh, that's not good.
Tap, 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 tap. I could hear the sound of particles impacting the hull, the constant whine of winging metal.
I feel like you're supposed to be more aggressive than what you did.
Tap, 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 tap.
Oh, Lord.
They started sparse, split out. Tap, 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 tap. Only a few minutes ago, the cabin had been eerily silent. Now a constant stream of sound filled it, like we'd flown into the midst of a typhoon. I could imagine the cold wind hitting my face, the fury of old Earth. I think it was a better coping mechanism. I'd rather be lost in a thunderstorm on a terrestrial surface than weathering a debris storm in a dingy old shuttle in one of the most remote parts of charted space. I winced, popping an eye open. A heavier rock pounded against the hull, and the ship lurched to one side. It didn't seem like we'd sustain any serious damage yet, so I sat there, clenching my legs, wringing my hands in desperation, hoping the storm would soon pass. Wham! Wham! It's beautiful. Like fish driven by fury and rage, the meteoroids continued to pound against the shuttle. With each impact, the rocks dug into the hull, denting it and pushing against the cabin walls. The flooring pressed against my legs as a large divot was suddenly formed. This was too close for comfort. Another larger meteoroid ricocheted off the window I was seated next to. I flinched and writhed in my seat.
Look, I've been through worse than this before, alright? Way, way worse than this. I'm a veteran of the trade, an unsung hero in the artificial intelligence community, you know? This is nothing that I can't handle, so... Oh.
That's bad. They came into sight. I saw enormous meteoroids, the heavy hitters of the storm, hurtling themselves directly in our path. Even the awe-inspiring holy light of the distant stars cowered in the shadow of the meteoroids. One was on a due course for the cabin. It was a monstrous, gray, jagged mass that glistened devilishly, its iron deposits reflecting in the flashing emergency lights of our ship. It is so loud. It was going to impact, and it was going to impact very soon. I swallowed hard and lowered my hands to undo my harness. My hands shook thunderously. I couldn't get at the switches and belts. I tugged at the straps, but they only seemed to tighten.
Oof.
Come on! Heckin' dang it. Beautiful. We stand. Before all the strength had been drained from my arms, the belts miraculously disengaged.
Passenger, sir, you need to get into the cockpit. It's the most isolated part of the ship, and we can seal it if worst comes to worst. Oh dear. You need to get down here now!
I exhaled deeply and darted towards the cockpit. That was my crashing sound effect. Did you enjoy it?
Perfect. It was perfect in every way.
Shrapnel and shards flew everywhere, lighting up the world in a blaze of yellow and orange. The entire cabin swayed and shook, and the horrendous sound of metal sheets rending apart filled my ears. I slammed into the cockpit door, opened it, and let myself fall through, and then kicked it shut. Scrambling over to the console, I sealed the cockpit door and engaged all the airlocks. My breathing was frantic, my vision blurred. I was in a panic when I saw the pale figure of the navigator scrolling through monitors and screens and spreadsheets. It comforted me, at least a little bit. That one was especially bad. Damage report?
The hull's been breached. You're lucky you got it out here in time, sir.
I took some time to settle in, trying to find my footing in the cockpit as the shuttle rumbled in the mists of the storm. I paused. I felt an odd sensation where my hand was resting on the windshield. I drifted my eyes down to take a look. A hairline fracture along the window pane. My finger ran along the thin, narrow line formed in the ultra-hardened glass. The splintered patterns it formed were remarkable, but I was paralyzed with terror. Suddenly another lurch forward, another large collision. Ack! Dang it.
Please, sir, take the co-pilot seat and strap in. It's dangerous to remain standing at this time.
Receptive to the machine's goading, I staggered to my feet, watching my footing on the lopsided cockpit. Eventually, I sank into the plushy co-pilot seat in the navigator's right. I glanced over to her. Hey, navigator, quick question. How in the heck do you not notice that massive meteoroid crap heading our way? This person swears too much for this channel.
They didn't show up on the short-range radar. The iron compound deposits absorbed the signals is what I'm thinking. The storm came in too fast to be traced.
I paused. So there was nothing we could have done about it? The storm had just been drifting through space and it just decided to ravage us in its wake? What the heck kind of freak accident?
Are you alright, passenger, sir? Are you hurt? That was a nasty beating you took.
The program looked so concerned for me. Still rubbing my forehead, I waved its concerns off, groaning to myself. Yeah, I ought to be fine. Nothing I can't handle. What are we gonna do now?
Well, our vessel sustained critical damage and we've been knocked considerably off course. Both the navigational and communication systems are completely offline and I haven't been able to find a way to repair them. But for now, we need to do something about the damage. Right now, the rest of the ship is nothing but a sheared hulking mass, adding unnecessary weight. Preparations for jettisoning the cockpit are underway. We should be far removed from the storm in due time.
Understood. Proceed as you should, Navigator. Wait, what? Jettisoning the cockpit? I can't say words.
This transit shuttle is of an older model, so previously designed for 2 human pilots. In the case of emergency, the shipmaker installed a simple mechanism to eject the cockpit, which contains a lavatory and necessary supplies for emergency survival. It was essentially a primitive form of an escape pod, except roomier and less reliable. Although I believe the jettison system of this craft is still in working order, I do maintain it after all.
What? Well, when I thought about it, it wasn't such a strange thing to phase out now that pilots were almost always navigators. Even then, I was glad it wasn't phased out entirely. The age of the ship may very well have been what saved me in that moment. Okay, well, that sounds doable. When are we going to be performing that jettison exactly? Hey, don't clam up on me now.
It's not a sure thing, but I'll have to inspect our subsystems to see if it's still in working order.
I thought you said it was still in working order.
It is! Probably.
The machine lied to me? Probably doesn't really...
I'm going to need to inspect the circuitry in order to fire up the launch mechanism. The system was hardwired in before the time of navigators, so it hasn't been restructured in software like most everything else has.
The AI turned to me, an apprehensive look in its soft eyes.
It's, pretty scary down there, so... Watch out for me, passenger, sir?
It doesn't sound particularly confident right now. The program bowed stiffly with a weak smile. That sinking feeling in my gut stirred again. Hey, don't talk like that. You're a personal navigator, aren't you? The AI's eyes drifted up to mine, wide like a child peeking at a scolding parent. For whatever reason, I couldn't bring myself to match your gaze. I looked off to the side. I mean, do your best down there. I'm counting on you? The program stared back at me for a few painful moments, as if figuring something out in its mind. Its eyes were piercing, serious. In time, its eyebrows furrowed, a fiery look... Is that right, fiery?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. A fiery look bursting into its irises.
Understood. I'm going in. Make sure your harness is correctly secured, and I'll be back soon.
I nodded. Click! That was the fastest I've ever fastened my seat straps. The AI's holographic display switched off in a flash of white light, and its cameras were retracted back into the inner workings of the console. In that moment, I was left to my own devices in the face of death. The cockpit was a closed room, a frame of steel and duraglass, the only thing separating the pilots from the harsh, hellish vacuum of space. I looked out at the infinite expanse before me, the distant, flickering stars. Boom.
That was the weakest boom ever.
Boom!
Oh, Lord.
I felt the ship rumble with the impact of another massive meteoroid. I shivered. Was I gonna die here, alone, in the infinite vastness of space? No one would care. No one would ever find me. Maybe I'd end up drifting out here forever.
Oof.
That scared me more than anything else. I felt my seat vibrate. My hands fell instinctively to clasp the armrest, attempting to keep myself steady. Ah! The entire room was shaking. I felt like the harnesses were about to rip apart. Ka-chunk. Oh, heck.
Stop this.
And then, like a rag doll, I was flung back into my seat, sinking further and further into the stiff leather. I couldn't move my head. The pressure was too forceful. I was simply starting out the front of the cockpit as I saw it shoot forwards. We'd definitely just been jettisoned. The cockpit is... Small pebbles pelted the windshield, but I didn't care. I was ecstatic, laughing to myself in giddy joy. The way was clearing up. The program had managed it. We were gonna make it. We were about to hit another enormous meteoroid. Slam. How are you supposed to voice act these effectively? I feel dumb being like slam and like putting like heart into it because it just says slam. A cockpit hurled through space, spinning erratically from the scrape of the meteoroid. I clutched to my seat for dear life, feeling the G-forces press me into my seat. A cockpit, once draped in flashing lights and infographic displays, was instead shrouded in a suffocating curtain of darkness. The only light caught in chaotic glimpses of the star. The only light caught in.
You read that right.
The only light caught in chaotic glimpses of the stars through the windshield. I winced as the seat straps dug into my chest, the only thing keeping me from a hard collision with the windshield. I felt nauseous, the might of the centrifugal forces crushing the very air from my lungs. I strained to look to my side where the navigator had previously been, furiously pecking away at the interfaces to salvage a wreck of a transit shuttle. The logical part of me understood what it was up to, operating inside circuitry and wiring, but I still felt a wave of dread overcome me. What if it didn't work? What if the navigator failed? What if it didn't manage to restore the power or there was another breach in the hull? I'd have become trapped in the deepest, emptiest expanse mankind had ever known. I was trapped. Good was dead.
Good as dead.
Good
as dead.
Leave me alone! Good as dead, this
dead.
was my grave, a coffin of glass and sparkling circuitry.
Good was dead.
Good was dead. I thought maybe they were trying to say God was dead, and I was like, that seems extreme given the circumstance. Like, I know you're about to die, but, like, cool it. It would preserve my final moments, the dying expression on my face as I suffocated and froze in the vacuum of space. In space, no one can hear you scream. It was a quote from an old ancient story they'd tell to the kids.
Ancient.
Perhaps it would have been okay for me to scream here, but not a single utterance escaped from my lips. My whips in my face. My throat tightened as I came to terms with the looming shadow of death hovering over me.
Please relax.
I closed my eyes, ready to accept my fate. Vroom! My eyes shot open as the cockpit rumbled back to life. The cloak of darkness was cut to ribbons by the various displays shuddering back to life. A flashing red light planted into the control board indicated that something was amiss. Yeah, I'd say you were, like, about to die, like, 5 seconds ago. Don't worry. Flashing light, I noticed. Did
you read that right? I don't know.
The operating system booted up before my eyes, green code buzzing across a hovering black screen faster than my human eyes could hope to process. MPV hash equal 4859. High mem tramps at off pre-enabled. Enabling database access. Metis kernel v.12.5.0 Mon June 1st 1200 IST 2567 copyright Applesoft. Can you... I should just pronounce the letters, but my monkey brain just wants to be like, can you... XNU dash... Right. I know. 14932-1.
/1.
I'm gonna fight you right now. Standard time slicing quantum is 10,000 US. VM -- paged -- bootstrap.
You don't need to read the underscores out loud.
Well, alright, I see. 56.20353 pages and 84.3281 T wired pages. Doesn't that just say the same thing?
Yeah.
MIG table max display equals 95. Why was I having so much trouble saying 95? My brain was like 95 and my mouth was just like... Did this mean the ship was coming back online? I didn't know what was going on. Suddenly a flash of white light.
I'm here. My deepest apologies for taking so long.
A soft chime, too soft given the pressing circumstances, signaled the return of the intelligent navigator. I twisted my head in its direction as it scrambled for the controls. It seemed to hesitate for a moment, nervous, almost wincing. She looked tired. So, pardon my common man's language, but... the heck's going on?
The stabilizing subsystems have to be recalibrated. The emergency thrusters remain seated. We'll be undergoing a little turbulence until...
Before the AI could provide me with an estimate, the cockpit lurched forward. Ah! I nearly spat that, feeling the rocking of the cockpit in the pit of my stomach. The fit of my stomach. I love reading out loud. The eyes of the navigator reflected the glow and the flickering of countless holographic screens. It swiped frantically through flowing diagrams of schematics and forms.
Just one moment.
It seemed to yell its response. I opened my jaw to respond, but in this state it was pointless to yell at it. The cockpit still felt like it was swirling, and the schematics and sheets upon sheets of code only made my scrambled mind ache even more.
Why would you yell at it? You've been, useless this whole time.
How dare you!
You're not even a pilot. You're just a passenger. She's doing all the work.
I'm not feeling so hot.
It'll be fine. Please remain seated.
Hey, there's no need to shout.
I'm not shouting!
That piercing cry made me jump a good 2 feet, or at least it would have had I not been strapped in.
I'm not shouting.
There was something different about the program. Why was it yelling at me now? Even when we were in the midst of the debris storm, it was calm, orderly, procedural. Don't expect stellar work from me. Sure, it was firm and tense, but only in a professional manner. Looking at it now, scrambling to make key adjustments, frantic movements, it was almost certainly panicking. Normal for a human looking into the face of inevitable death, but an artificial intelligence was different. AIs had to remain calm in all circumstances. They even had sentience limitation codes, chips inside of them that suppressed sentient and emotional behavior. Maybe it was just some sort of scenario the personal navigators had never been programmed for? Ping! Another chime ran out. The obnoxious red light turned green. Did you pull it off? I felt the G-forces previously pinning my body to my seat ebb away, until finally I found I could move comfortably. The stars beyond stopped their fluttery spinning. It seemed our course was finally...
Stability subsystem has returned to partial effectiveness.
The AI, I say.
The yay.
The yay. What?
Blay.
The AI next to me beamed proudly. The worst seemed to have passed.
Oh.
I was aching all over.
I'm sorry. That was an accident.
Thank you.
Can I go back?
No.
Well, that's
As I craned my neck, I found myself face to face with the program at the helm. There was something different in her eyes now. I couldn't quite tell what it was. It was abstract, almost emotional. The girl was staring at me. Oh. So we're good now? I wasn't quite sure what her eyes seemed to be asking. It was still a machine, wasn't it? A construct. It felt all kinds of weird being stared at as closely like that. The AI continued gazing at me for a moment and then nodded.
Yes, the stabilization subsystem is functioning at this point, as well as the artificial gravity, but I'm still unable to replot our course. Oh, what? Oh, wait. Haha, I can scroll back.
Haha!
I can't scroll back any further than this, though.
I'm not quite sure how far... That's your line.
I'm not quite sure how far we spiraled away. I think it might have been even in uncharted space.
You know, I thought maybe we could get through one episode without me accidentally reading out your line, but you know how it be.
But regardless, as soon as the stabilizing subsystem returns to full strength, we should be able to regain situational awareness, and head off on our way.
The AI explained all of this concisely as it continued to study me closely. I raised my eyebrows in response. Is something wrong? Something on my face?
Huh? I was just concerned if you... how do you feel after all that? Seemed like you were put through considerable stress.
I paused to gaze back at her expression. The concern in her voice was almost palpable.
Just
palpable.
Just go on.
After all that, I wasn't expecting to be the subject of the doting worry of some sort of machine. But I guess that would be in the programming of what was essentially a space stewardess, now that I thought about it. I smirked. In any case, that was one heck of an understatement on her part. Me? I feel like I just spent 10 minutes in a blunder.
Huh?
The program tilted her head. Apparently, it was unable to comprehend similes. Never mind. I'm fine, just a little sore is all. She stared at me for a few seconds longer, studying me more. In time, it smiled, seemingly satisfied. What was it thinking?
We should wrap this up soon.
Yo.
Do you want to just end it now? This is a fairly decent place.
I guess so. That happened.
That was episode
almost died.
2 of whatever.
Palinurus. Let us know if you want more episodes of this. I realize that it might not be as thrilling as some of the other stellar content that we produce on this channel.
Reading this is probably more interesting than anything we could make on our own.
Okay, well, listen. If you guys want more, make sure to let us know and we'll keep doing it.
We're probably gonna keep doing it anyway.
Yeah. Why don't y'all fight us? I'm hungry and tired because I went to bed at 3 a.m. yesterday for various reasons. Mostly just my own stupidity.
Mainly.
Yeah, mainly. Anyway, guys, we hope you enjoyed this thing. We've got social media, like a Discord and stuff, and
yes, you should join our Discord. It's a fun place. Why am I pointing as if they can see me?
Yeah, just keep pointing at your knees, Glitch. Everyone can tell. Enjoying the Nerdhood. It's a dysfunctional place. My hair doesn't move nearly as much as it used to, and it's still disconcerting. Goodbye.
Bye.